Hey everybody, welcome to our first AMA of the new year. I'm here with Unstoppable co-founders Matthew Gould and Brad Cam, and they are here to answer all of your questions about where Unstoppable Domains is headed in 2021. Just to preface, our theme for 2021 is growth. We already have a bunch of exciting integrations, tech improvements, and new partnerships planned that we'll touch on a little bit today. And you might be wondering, why is our focus this year on growth? Well, because the bigger our community gets, the stronger it becomes, which means that we can grow the number of domains that we issue, grow the number of people that hold them, and ultimately grow the number of institutions that support them as well, and grow this entire ecosystem. We are also growing our team this year. So if you are interested in working for Unstoppable Domains, go check out our jobs page. That's unstoppabledomains.com/jobs. Or if you don't see something that fits your profile, but you think you'd be awesome here anyway, get in touch with us at jobs@unstoppabledomains.com. Just go ahead and shoot us an email. All right, and so let's go ahead and dive on into the questions. First thing, before we dive into the audience questions, just this one's for Brad. Brad, looking ahead to 2021, why did we choose growth as the theme for this year?
So if you go back to 2019 was getting V1 of the product out. That's when we launched. That's when we launched the registries. But there was no tools, so there was nothing you could actually do with the domains yet, and they didn't actually work anywhere yet. 2020 was the year where we started having all of these tools and features and things that you could do with your domains in the first batch of integrations. But for 2021, what we really need to happen is we need to have all sorts of applications where you can go and use your domain. So if you want to foreshadow what you should expect in 2021, you should see a lot more integrations coming.
Awesome. And so I know a new feature that we just introduced is the App Store. Matt, can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the App Store is trying to unlock the superpower of blockchain domains, and that superpower is that developers can build on top of blockchain domains without having to ask anybody for permission. So a couple of the apps that I think are pretty neat, in addition to all the wallet integrations that we've been working with, is, for instance, email or plugging chat into your domain name, and just expanding out on the interesting uses for your domain name built by people outside of Unstoppable, just the developer community, to make domains even more powerful.
Super cool. And for anybody looking for jobs at Unstoppable Domains, hoping to work here, Brad, can you just outline a few of the positions that we're looking for at the moment?
Yeah, so I would suggest going to unstoppabledomains.com/jobs. You can see everything that's out there. And just so everybody knows, we do get a very large volume of applications, so apologies if you don't hear back from us immediately. We do archive everything and we do go back and look at it. So there are business development opportunities, marketing opportunities, community team, and as well as engineering. So kind of across the board.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So now let's go ahead and dive on into your audience questions. Thank you to everybody who submitted a question. We really appreciate the audience participation, and let's just dive right on in. So first question is from Alonzo. Alonzo says, will we see native browser support this year?
Yes.
Okay, great. Next question. Zill Schiller says, would you say progress for .zil support is further behind than you expected at this stage?
I wouldn't say further behind than we expected, but I would say that it is more difficult to build things for .zil than it is for .crypto, because it's a little bit easier to build things with Ethereum. That's the reason why .crypto tends to get features first, but we are absolutely still building for .zil.
Cool. Sarah says, you previously stated that we would be able to add our own images for the domain. Was that shelved?
No, we're actively working on this now. We just had a few things come up, and so our core focus is always on like the core infrastructure behind domain names, and pictures are a feature that we are looking to get to in this quarter.
Okay, and then we've got a more big picture question from Clock Tower. How long do you think it'll be before the secondary market for domains takes off?
Well, I guess it depends on what you mean by takes off. We've seen several big sales just in the past couple of months, mostly on OpenSea. I know there's a few NFT interested folks who are putting together some stats on that. So I think that I think that some aggregated information on what's been selling is going to be released pretty soon. But I think you can go and find what's happening on OpenSea and on Rarible. And so far as I've seen, there's been some decent activity recently.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next we've got a two-part question from Harry. Harry says, what do you think the biggest driving force will be to increasing adoption? Is it going to be a killer website, too much censorship / taking of users' data on the traditional web? And then when do you think this will happen?
So I don't think there's going to be any particular lightning moment. I think just like with any major sea change in technology, it's going to happen incrementally, piece by piece, which is already what's happening. And if you were to just look back to where we were 6 months ago, you can point to all kinds of new things that have happened, as well as many, many more users who are actually using this technology. So I think whenever you have a massive sea change in technology, it looks much more dramatic on the other side of that. 10 years, 20 years down the road, you look back at how quickly things seem to have moved. But when you're in it, the reality is that it's incremental. So I don't think there's going to be some big moment. I think it's all of these things. We're going to have better websites. We're going to have more users sending crypto using domain names. The fact that the regular internet is breaking before our eyes is also making a lot of people pay attention to this technology in this world. So I think it's all of the above.
Got it. All right, Bob Man says, I have a friend who is involved with a particular wallet. Can he contact you via the submit application form to get your tech integrated into the wallet?
Yes, absolutely. Please do.
Great. Redmond says, will we see more marketing in 2021? And if so, what form will this take, as we didn't see much last year?
You didn't see much last year? You sure about that? I certainly thought we were releasing announcements quite frequently. So I guess maybe it depends on what you mean by marketing. But what you're going to see from us this year is a continued focus on partnerships, on relationships with companies that we're integrating with. We found this to be the best way to get the word out, as well as to get new communities on board onto this technology.
And we've got the Unstoppable podcast. Make sure you go check that out. Download, subscribe, listen, rate, all the good things. All right, cool. Just had to throw that in there. Next question is from Loner. Says, is Unstoppable Domains reaching out to household name businesses to adopt blockchain domains? And if not, why?
Yes, absolutely. And you probably, for those of you who are regular followers of our AMAs, you probably heard us talking previously about how one of the limitations for traditional brands has been having a custodian. And so if you can imagine, let's say you're talking to some giant Fortune 1000 company, and you say, okay, it's time to clean your blockchain domain. So just download MetaMask, follow these steps, etc. Like, so what's going to happen when you start down that path? And the problem is that these companies you can't just have one random admin or one random employee control an asset that the company would deem to be important to them. And so as a result, the best solution was to have a custodian that they can rely on. And so you probably saw us make the announcement with Gemini towards the end of last year. That was the beginning of us being able to enable these large companies to come on board. And many have since then, and we are reaching out to them as well. So that was the limiting factor and the reason why we didn't press on the gas on this in 2020, but absolutely pushing on it now.
Awesome. DWeb fan says, when do you expect to release your next major feature for the domains? And are you able to give some insight into what it will be?
Yes. So sometime in the next few weeks, we will be releasing our mobile app to solve the number one pain point as reported by our users, which is easily claiming domain names. This will be for iOS only to start. And so that's the next big thing that's on the map.
Cool. Sammy wants some insider information here. Sammy says, are you able to say what the developers have been working on over the last 6 months?
Yeah, so there's 3 major areas of focus. One is scaling, and we'll have an announcement for that in the next couple of months, but we're not quite ready to say what we've decided to do there. And everyone in the blockchain space is working on scaling right now. So I think everyone's working on this, so that takes a lot of time. The second one is the mobile app, which I just talked about, and that will be out shortly. And the last one is all the technology around making integrations easier. So this is like behind the scenes stuff that you don't see as much, but we've been spending a lot of effort on that as well.
Great. All right, this next question, we've got a long example to go along with it, so bear with me here. This question is from CR Catania Ransom, says, when will blockchain domains be able to accept multiple keys? For example, let's say foodtrucks.crypto was developed as a DWeb, the pandemic was over and COVID was behind us. Now foodtrucks.crypto needs to apply 25 keys to receive payments in ETH and BTC. Right now, only one key can be entered. This poses a problem.
Yeah, so you're basically, to simplify this, you're asking for multi-key per blockchain network per address, and this is on the roadmap. I would expect this after our next major update, which is going to be in Q3 of this year. So, but yeah, we know that this is an issue. And I think the way it'll work is you'll just have a selector, and you'll be able to scroll down and pick which Bitcoin address you want, if you want to put in 2 Bitcoin addresses.
Okay, great. Next question is from Chris. Chris says, with IPFS integration into the Brave browser, what do you see happening in 2021 for .crypto adoption?
So obviously this is super exciting for the decentralized web world that the Brave browser did this. In general, what we're seeing is a lot of excitement and a lot of activity from the browser community. They're really paying attention. I would say this started at some point in the middle of last year. That community and the implementation of technology in that community tends to move relatively slow, at least relatively slow, maybe compared to the blockchain or crypto world. But you should see a lot more things in this from this community in 2021.
Okay. Justin Bolin asks, are there any plans on accepting partnerships for domain extension registering? What is the current process?
No plans at this time.
Okay. Mark has several questions. First question is, can you speak to implementing a whitelist/blacklist for .crypto addresses?
Yeah, so the place where this would most likely happen would be implemented by an application for resolving the domain name. So it would actually be inside the app. I suspect that 1 or 2 web browsers will take a look at doing this sometime this next year.
Okay, next question from Mark. When will we have the ability to mint subdomains?
Yeah, we do not currently support the UX in our application for minting subdomains. This is not on our roadmap anytime in the next 6 months, I can tell you that. So that's probably the best information I can give you right now. Of course, you can go mint your own subdomains if you would like at this point in time, because they are NFTs and you're welcome to do that.
Okay, and then last question from Mark. Any news on Cloudflare and a DNS bridge so that .crypto domains appear in Google search results?
No comments. We'll come back to that shortly.
Okay. Maz has a question. Does Unstoppable Domains have any plans for pushing the secondary market with OpenSea or other well-established marketplaces like Sedo?
So domains are being regularly traded in OpenSea. That doesn't actually require anything from Unstoppable Domains. So that's just something that users can go and do. We're big fans of OpenSea and what they've built. So encourage you to check out that marketplace. Very open to others, like Sedo, like Sedos of the world. Not 100% sure that's going to be quite as impactful as these NFT marketplaces for now. But absolutely open to investigating.
Okay, and then on a related note, question from Diary: how do you support .crypto domain prices in secondary markets?
So I would say that this is not something. I think that our goal is not to increase the price of .crypto domains. Our goal is to increase the usability of them, make them more useful and usable for users. And I think that when that happens, one of the side effects of that is that they become more valuable. So we're focused on this other part, which is make it so you can do more things with your domains and make it so you can use your domains in more places. And that's going to be the thing that we can bring to the table.
Yeah, and just to be more direct there, Unstoppable Domains does not directly support domain prices on any secondary market at all, period. So that is not something that we participate in.
All right. John Brown asked, will we have options for leasing out domains this year, and how will that work?
So this is kind of interesting. I mean, you could lease the domain name now if you wanted to somebody. And I think what you're asking though is on the technology side, are we going to have some sort of like lease interface? Unfortunately, John, we will not. And again, the team has a lot of effort to do around the other core parts that we're working on, which are scaling the integrations and the mobile app. So it's going to be a little bit longer. Sorry about that, John.
Wild and Witty asked, when will big wallets and exchanges like blockchain.info, Ledger, Trezor, Binance be implemented so actual users can really use these human readable addresses?
So this is a question for me. There are integration projects as well as integration conversations going on all the time. You should tune in on Twitter, tune in on email, tune in on Telegram. We will be sharing big announcements as they come. But we're pretty excited about what's coming in 2021.
Cool. All right. Sharik asked, how long do you think it'll take for Google, Chrome, Explorer, etc., to allow crypto domains to be opened directly on the browsers? Any roadmap for this, as this may help in mass adoption?
So we would expect that a company like Chrome is going to be on the later stage of adoption. And so what we think is going to happen is that it's going to be browsers who are crypto oriented or crypto curious or crypto open first, and that the way that we're going to be addressing Chrome users in the short term is going to be through browser extensions, DNS resolvers, other tools like that. And so Chrome is probably going to be at the later stage, once there's millions and millions of websites that people are using, and there's a lot of consumer demand. That's the point in time at which they're going to support. But I don't think that they're gonna lead it. I think that it's going to be the community that leads that leads it.
All right. And then to finish off, we've got a slew of questions from Demo. First one, why have you not used Twitter to contact/tag the projects you want to work with?
So we do this. And we also reach out to a lot of folks on DM. But it just kind of depends on whether or not we're already having conversations with them. It's might not be the best path forward if we're already having a conversation to be like kind of harassing people on Twitter or whatever. It kind of depends on what's going on with the conversation.
Okay, next question from Demo. It seems like you guys have stopped developing new products and growing. Why is that?
I think this is one of the things that that happens if you've been part of the community for a while. You've probably seen this cycle multiple times, where what happens is that we go and we build and we're heads down working on a bunch of stuff. And we're quiet during that period, and then there's announcements, and then that's the next phase where we get a bunch of excitement, we get a bunch of new users, and then we go back to the heads down phase. And during the heads down phase, we get this question a lot. So I would ask you to be a little bit patient. We're absolutely cranking away here.
All right, next question. Why isn't there any mention of Web3 on your website, and why aren't you tagging Web3 companies on Twitter?
So this is maybe just sort of a personal preference, but I don't think Web3 is a super specific term. So if I was trying to explain what our technology is to somebody, Web3 is not a term that I would use. However, Web3 is something that we use in order to find other people in our space, and we are absolutely reaching out to them and finding them on Twitter, etc.
Okay, next question. You have a good product. Why aren't you broadcasting it more?
We are hiring and building our marketing team right now. There are in a whole bunch of different directions, and so if you have any suggestions for us for things that we're not doing that we should be doing more of, we'd love to hear those. But I would say it's we are full steam ahead in this regard.
Awesome. Next question. Can you create a separate Telegram/Discord community for new Unstoppable users versus early adopters?
Yeah, it's a good idea. And we've been talking about this a little bit internally because there are a couple of different things going on inside of the Telegram community. Some people are there just trying to onboard, figure out how to use the tech. Others want to get into a deep discussion about the future or how we can work together, etc. So I think it's something that we're actively talking about.
Awesome. And then last question, can you create a communication channel for users to send ideas and suggestions directly to the product team instead of through community managers?
That's a great idea. Yes, we'll try to come up with something for that.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you again, everybody, for submitting these questions. These are great questions. Make sure that you're subscribed to our Telegram channel, Unstoppable Announcements, so that you can stay up to date on all Unstoppable news and announcements in this upcoming year. If you have more questions, make sure you get in touch with us as well. Let us know your thoughts, feedback. We want to hear it all. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thank you, Matt and Brad, for being here and answering these questions. We will talk to you guys soon.
See you.